Yes, everyone. I'm looking for WESAK, which will be on April 25th from 9 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Uh, and I'm really excited about it because there's a lot of things that are coming through. As such, and it's going to be more participatory. I am having several people who are offering musical numbers and performances and all of that. So it's going to be, of course, online on Zoom, and I'm looking forward to have a phenomenal day. So this is something to look forward to, and lots of information are coming forth with regards exactly to that, how to prepare for it, how to get ready, and all that. And the theme for WESAK this year is finding safe passage to the new earth. But the subtitle is the rise of the phoenix, okay? Meaning that it is about us letting go and surrendering of a whole bunch of other stuff that will allow for the rebirth of ourselves into our light bodies and into the new earth. So there is a lot of information about what that rebirth is, how do we go through the process of this, because in order for us to transit from where we are in 3D into a higher density, we need to shift quite a bit. There's a lot of things we have to surrender, a lot of things that we have to let go. When I was joking before that it felt like I was laced in a bustier and somebody somehow unlaced me, there's a part of me that's not joking. This is exactly what it feels like energetically, that I have to let go of so much. As the Dalai Lama says, it's the absence of existence and self-identity. So I had to let go of quite a bit, and I'm still surrendering and letting go of responsibility. And part of it also is that when you're an empath, from a higher perspective, I know what's happening. The existing 3 paradigm is being demolished, things are being taken down. But as it so happened, the people who are connected to, and there are multiple parallel realities that are overlapping each other. The people who are connected to those parallel realities are suffering. And they are reaching out to me, and energetically, if I'm connected to them and they're in pain, I feel it. I feel it in a very powerful and disturbing way. And because of this, I empath part of their burden, and I have to figure out a way. I have to catch it, because initially I think it's me. I'm always looking at myself and saying, well, okay, where with the inner flashlight, where is this connected to me? And when I can't find it, I have had to ask, is this coming from the outside? Yes. Am I empathing something? Yes. And then eventually I have to figure out by process of elimination, what am I connecting to? And how do I surrender this? How do I let it go? How do I let go of their burden? Sometimes I am doing my merger, I'm doing my practice, and out of nowhere, somebody's burden just pops. And I just see it. I see information, I see things, I begin to experience things that I should not know. Okay? Meaning things that people are keeping private for themselves, but that nonetheless are their burden. And the reason I know this is that later on, when I mastered the nerve, after my meditation practice, I would email them, text them, communicate with them and say, did this, that, or the other happen? And yes, it did happen, but I didn't want to say anything about it. And I'm yet in my connection, I'm seeing it and I'm perceiving it. This is the drama of the gifted ones. And I have to figure out a way how to make sure that, particularly now, since more things are getting demolished and a lot of people are exiting, there's a lot of people who are exiting completely. And how to move with agility through the process of surrendering, the process of letting go, and dealing with loss and grief, and allowing for other people's choice to be honored. They've made their choice. They don't want to go to the new earth. And I know what I'm teaching is a narrow scope. I know that it's not a popular choice because it requires you to let go, to surrender so much. Most people on earth don't want to let go of the stuff that they have, the gift, the comfort, the benefit, and everything else that they have. They don't want to let go of them. They want to still maintain their money and their success, their adoration. That there's a lot that they identify with that they want to keep. They don't want to let it go. And because they don't want to let it go, when it comes time for them, when the shift is begin to dismantle it, they go into deep state of suffering and discomfort. And some of them, because what they are still holding on to is so opposite to where we're going, they are actually leaving this density and they're going elsewhere, to be given more time to work on their priorities. So I'm seeing a lot of this, and I have to figure out a way to. I'm doing it. It's not that I'm not doing it, because I know people on the planet right now who are still sensitive, who are having a harder time than I am, because they don't have the insights, nor do they have the toolkits that we all have and that we're all using to move through this with agility. So I'm experiencing that as well. Now, going back to WESAK and to the conversation about how do we prepare. WESAK is in 2 weeks from today. It's going to be on April 25th. It's at from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern daytime, and we will be live online. There will be an hour break in between for lunch. There will be several breaks in between of 15 minutes to integrate after every channeling, every connection, for us to kind of like figure out where we are. But I wanted to kind of like give you a sense of the what the program is going to be like. Everything will relate to a way for us to elevate, to let surrender, let go, and elevate into a body of light. And there will be lots of information coming forward to align to that truth. I wanted, in preparation for WESAK, to kind of give a background for those of you who don't remember, because the last channeling that I had published, which was in December 19th, from the Galactic Regent Council, the other channeling, although they may have had, from the other years, may have had information that were a little bit difficult about the transition and the transit into the new earth, they were not as direct as this one. In some ways, it is a deeper and more elaborate explanation of the transit of where we're going. But I wanted to go over it one more time. I did this once before, several months back, around maybe right after I received this. I did a class and I spoke about it. But I want to go back over this one more time, because in preparation for WESAK, I want you to understand the background, because that channeling will not be repeated during WESAK. The Galactic Regent Council, and through the voice of Lord Melchior, will be channeled. I doubt he's not going to go over that same information again. He will bring new insights. But I wanted to give you guys a kind of a background information so that as you participate in WESAK, you will have a sense of what's going on. For those who are not aware, that are going to be listening to this video and audio, I just want to say that WESAK is Buddha's birthday. And it is actually always celebrated in the full moon in Taurus, which this year will fall in April 27th, which will be on a Tuesday. And since WESAK is in the middle of the week and we're living in a real world where we have responsibility and work, so on and so forth, we will not celebrate it exactly on that day. We'll celebrate it the Sunday before, the 25th. And that festival is about the alignment of yourself to, because WESAK is a valley in Tibet. It's the exact geometric center of the crown chakra of the planet. And that alignment, that axis, that valley, that gorge, the lamas used to go in there whilst they were still allowed to practice their religion freely around that time and celebrate Buddha's birthday. Now, WESAK in Buddhism is a big festival. It's celebrated all around the world. And everybody that celebrates it and allow for the energy that's being dispensated, whether people are in the valley or not at that time, and drops to the ley line of the planet and spread to the core of the planet, to the whole planet instantaneously. Anyone that aligns around that time in groups to gather, to worship, to celebrate light, enlightenment, and the betterment of humanity will receive the message. I have to say to you that multiple times before, I have compared the channeling that we have received when we celebrated WESAK in the past, because we've been doing this since 2008 in New York, and compare it to other people who have celebrated WESAK. Not exactly the same words, but the messages are on point. They match each other. And it's when God comes in for the year and gives the latest dispensation, the change, the alignment, and basically fine-tune the frequency and the vibration for the rest of the year. So it is the highest spiritual festival of the year, and I look forward to be able to organize something that's really phenomenal for you. And if you can join us, do so, and whether you're on Patreon or any other platform where I publish my stuff, if you can join us, it will be a wonderful thing. You're not going to regret it. I want to share my screen with you, and I'm going to read you the channeling that came in and I published in December 19 of last year. And I'm going to go over it in a moment. I will pause. I will explain, because I want to make sure that the background is understood. Some of you have heard this before, but I may explain certain things about this that you may not have known. Okay, let me share my screen with you. And it's called Into the New Earth, Preparation and Prediction 2021 and Beyond. Galactic Regent Council, channeled by Pierre Dubois. We are the Galactic Regent Council, a collective of 12 galactic healers that compose the governance of the Milky Way galaxy. We sense your fear, distress, confusion as your planet transits into the new Earth. For the past 5 years, we have been providing you with guidance, predictions, and strategies to help you move through this period with grace. Many of our predictions have happened or will happen. To save yourself many discomfort, listen like you never have before, for the foundation of your reality is being deconstructed in order for you to elevate into a higher density. We feel your collective sense of loss and grief over your lost ones and your way of life. But nothing will ever be the same or go back to normal. Between now and the next 7 years, your planet is transitioning into multiple parallel and higher dimensional realities. I'm going to stop here and make a comment. When the Galactic Regent Council are talking about higher dimensional realities, they are talking about, think of when I say dimensional realities as something that moves vertically, as opposed when they say parallel realities of something that move horizontally. The horizontal realities or places that are like Earth, only there's slight variance and differences in each one of them. And there could be an endless number of them. They're all various versions of 3D. Whereas the higher dimensional reality means like if the 3D is composed of X, Y, and Z axis, in the fourth dimension, there's X, Y, Z, but there's also a W. And so on and so forth. For each reality, there's another axis that's added, and the perception of that world and the frequency and the vibration of it is utterly, completely different. It's a very different thing from a parallel reality. I hope that makes sense. Currently, I'm continuing, currently, all these realities are occupying the same space. Leading the split is a bifurcation or separation between two paths or way of life that appear to be the only available choices. Although this is not true, the polarizing emotion will cause a giant rift or schism between friends, nations, and family members. Each side of the split will demonize the other. There will be no bridge to connect them. Consequently, families will be ripped apart, communities separated, and nation break apart. This will lead to violence, riot, and civil war. This is because, now remember that all of this was channeled before January 6th, okay? Going back again to the text. This is because the Earth in your solar system is about to crest over the thickness and crest of the Milky Way galaxy to face directly the light of the galactic equator, a process that occurs once every 31 million years. When this happens, the light of the galactic equator, which is truth, authenticity, and transparency, will bathe and accelerate the evolutionary process of sentient beings, causing a shift en masse. In the galactic core, we call this period, quote, the great harvest, end of quote. Just like a harvest, the wheat is being separated from the chaff. People are coalescing by the emotion that they share with others at the core of each realities or emotion that orbits around a shared belief. I'm going to stop here because there's quite a bit that I have to unpack first before I move on. They're saying that our solar system will crest over the Milky Way galaxy to face directly the galactic equator. The galactic equator. What is the galactic equator? Okay, so the Milky Way galaxy has a thickness of 100 light years across, and in that thickness, you can consider it to be looking at the pizza pie from the side, very close to you. There is a thickness to the cross. That's where all of the stars, all of the planets are located. There are other galaxies that are spherical, where the planet and the star are part of a giant bubble, like a balloon. We are flat, like somebody had iron both sides, and everything is in that thickness. Nothing exists at the top or the bottom. So the Milky Way, that thickness the Milky Way galaxy itself has a certain kind of width, and the pinwheel, where all the stars, various stars are located and planets are located, rotate around the galactic core. And the process of this rotation is 250 million years. Okay? Now that rotation, in the process of that rotation, 8 times, let's say if we're focusing about our solar system, for most of the time, we are in the middle of this thickness, of this crust, and therefore we never directly connect to the light that exists at the core of the center of the Milky Way galaxy. The light, in fact, when scientists are studying that region, they have to use X-rays, ultraviolet rays. They have to use all kinds of filters because no one can see it. It's filled with other planets, other stars, dust, too many particles, too many things. They have to use all kinds of filter to kind of get a sense of what's in the core of the Milky Way galaxy. But every 31 million years, because we're not simply rotating around the core, as we rotate, the solar system rotate, we also wobble and crest above the thickness of the Milky Way. And for 3 days, we face exactly the light directly. This cresting or dropping, doesn't matter which one that happens, will allow us to face the Milky Way galaxy light directly. And the light of that galactic equator is truth, authenticity, and transparency. Okay, I will continue with the reading. And it says here, at the core of each reality or emotion that orbit around a shared belief, consciously or unconsciously, the emotion that dominates your energy system will connect you to the reality that you are going into. The choice as to which reality you will go into is directly related to your level of emotional intelligence. It is not an intellectual selection, rather a visceral identification and bonding with others with the same energy signature. It is a matching of frequency. The great harvest that they are talking about is about when the galactic equator crossing happens, that light of truth, authenticity, and transparency will scan every sentient being and will match them to a parallel or higher dimensional reality, depending where they are energetically, to a matching frequency. And what is at the root, what is the way the assessment is made? It's through emotional intelligence. How emotionally intelligent are you? That's the key. And it's going to literally match you to a place. You can intellectually profess to be something in your head because we're masters of self-deceit. You can lie to yourself and I'm ascending and I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff and I'm so elevated. And I've known too many clients that I've watched in what I call, who are existing in what I call a false ascension. They are claiming to be connected and conversing with the ascended masters all the time. They're talking to angels, to all kinds of beings. Yet when you look at their life, it's in complete and utter chaos. Emotionally, they are completely, so infantile, so immature, that what they are saying and what's happening in their life do not match. And these people are delusional and they are creating false ascension. The light of the galactic equator, truth, authenticity, and transparency, you cannot lie to it. It will assess you and put you exactly where you belong. And I know for many that's terrifying because in their core, they know they are not doing the real work. They are doing lip service to the work. I will continue. For the vortex of the new reality to show up, there has to be a nexus point or symbolic mover champion who will serve as the central axis or avatar around which the emotions and ideas related to that reality will congeal. When a critical mass is achieved, the portal to the new reality will be visible, and all souls gathered by this centrifuge will shift into that reality. What they are saying here is that they keep saying, and they've been saying this since day one, since I've been challenging it, parallel realities are occupying the same space. I never quite completely understood it. What they're saying is that for each of these parallel realities, let's say the bifurcation, which is the sense that you have visibly two choices. You either go this way or that way, and the two choices are opposite to each other. All of the people who are making this separation and this division are convinced that whatever they are moving, whatever they are holding themselves connected to is actually the truth, and they're doing it for the betterment of humanity. They're convinced 300% that to be true. So what this is saying is that each of these parallel realities will have its champion, a symbolic center of a centrifuge, someone or something that will serve almost like an avatar for a symbolic figure for that very specific reality of world version that they are trying to precipitate into dominance over the planet. I will continue. That being true, you may be pulled into a reality by the suppressed emotion that may be the opposite of what you intellectually hold. Who you are and where you think you're going are a different thing for what vibration and emotion subconsciously exists within you. Thus, actively working on becoming more emotionally intelligent will move you to the reality of your choice more powerfully than any intellectual conviction. For example, the entire 3D reality rotates around the activity of survival. So as the existing paradigm is being dismantled, with wildfires, hurricanes, typhoons, earthquakes, floods, drought, pathogen, food shortages, economic and civil unrest, you're being triggered to go into survival. The fear generated by these external events will be processed for most by letting the subconscious fear of survival dominate, causing an alignment to one side of this bifurcation. Yet neither side of this rift is the path to the new earth. They are both on a seesaw, balancing each other out, and they are linked and bound together. Let me make a couple of comments. So, to my mind, what's the most startling part of this paragraph is the first sentence. That being true, you may be pulled into a reality by the suppressed emotion that may be the opposite of what you intellectually hold. Who you are and where you think you are going are a different thing for what vibration and emotion subconsciously exists within you. This is the important part, and this is where the going deeper within and the constant dantian and the constant looking within to unmask the to disconnect to our emotional reactive system so that we can become more self-aware, more conscious, and make better choices emotionally becomes the key. And I know there's a lot of other paths out there that people are following where this is not taught. That is not being done. There's a lot of spiritual mechanic and spiritual exercise, breath control, a lot of very powerful stuff, but no emotional intelligence. And if you're not doing this, you're gonna end up in a place that you will not like. And more to the point, this bifurcation, because if you're being triggered by all the fears of drought, the climate change, and all the various things that are happening around you, if you're being triggered by it, what you do is that you're going to survival. And the survival is going to take you to either side of the bifurcation. And the bifurcation, both sides of it are in a seesaw relationship to each other, and they are bound together. You're not still going into the new earth. You're still perpetuating survival. Next paragraph. Those few who are emotionally intelligent enough will realize that the trap of emotional triggers created by external chaos and fear are an opportunity to select a different path. There exists an emerging path that can only be revealed when one is disconnected to the survival emotional reaction. It is counterintuitive, for as the fear rises in you, you have to find a way to let it go and become unburdened. I'm sorry, I got distracted. No matter how intense and powerful the chaos is, it is still an illusion. Ask your creator or God concept to disconnect you to the fear, for by your own device, you will not be able to do it. Dissociates your identity with the fear. If you are in panic, watch the emotional reaction like you would watch a movie. Realize that the essence of your being transcends this. And move your entire awareness into the peace and the serenity of that essence. As soon as this is done, you will find a transcendental way to handle the crisis at hand, and more to the point, you will begin to discern the horizon of the new earth. So let's go back very quickly over this. It is that what one should realize is that all of these fears, that the climate change and the survival and all of this coronavirus, the fear, whatever it is that's happening for you right now, vaccine or no vaccine, whatever it is that's happening for you right now, you should begin to very quickly understand and realize this, that there are opportunities for you to transcend and let go as these triggers are flaring up, and the crises are going to get worse and worse and worse. They're going to get more and more dramatic. And as they are flaring up and they are exploding, you should really begin to understand that these are your opportunities for you to transcend them and realize this is not who I am. In my emotion, the emotional, dramatic way in which I'm reacting now, where I'm beginning to foam at the mouth, or I'm beginning to be so in fear, I want to bury myself somewhere, or I'm trying to run and flee, that reaction is not becoming of who I really am. In the essence of my being, I am something much better and more transcendental. And I have to watch, you don't deny the emotions. You dissociate with it. You watch it like you were watching a movie by saying, I am not my emotional reaction. I know I'm in fear now. I'm in panic. And I want to make the differentiation, I mentioned this before, between when you're in panic, your brain is overactivated. Everything that happened, your trigger, you want to run, you want to flee, you want to, that's panic. To be depressed is to have no energy and to be incapable of doing anything at all. It's two different things. Okay? And either one of them is not good. And if you find yourself on either one of them, you should very quickly begin to say to yourself, I am not my emotional reaction. Because if you keep saying, I am panic, I am, the moment you say I am, you claim it. Unless, what I'm saying is that you should dissociate. You should say, I am feeling panic, but it is not who I am. In the essence of my being, I am at peace in transcendence, and I am serene. And therefore, I don't claim this. I was talking to Celia this morning about all of this, and she said something that's from the Bible, like going to church. Like when you're feeling this kind of thing, say to yourself, as she said to me, the devil is a liar. You've always lied to me. The devil is a liar. So I laughed a lot about it, but she's right. Because that emotion is basically lying to you by triggering you into thinking certain things that are completely untrue. And you may know this to a degree. There's a part of you that says, particularly when you realize that your emotional reaction is exaggerated, it's out of character for you. That's a sure indication that you're being triggered. I will continue. Remember, the collective chaos is the teacher that is attempted to accelerate your growth and evolution. If you can do this, you will incrementally surrender the 3D survival paradigm and begin to perceive a higher dimension of reality, where interdependency to the blessed field will connect you to a state of perpetual renewal and healing. And the pain and the suffering of this world will cease to affect you. For this to happen, there have to be a few trailblazers who by all appearances will seem delusional, but who are in fact visionaries who will carve the path toward the new earth. Are you brave enough to embark on this journey? Do you have the courage to chance ridicule and move toward the path less traveled? Are you called to be volunteer to demonstrate this path to the world? All this will take is for 144 of you to exist in that emerging awareness. And the portal to the new earth will be open, for you are the doorway and path. Think of it as a complex combination lock composed of 144,000 numbers or key vibratory signature. This will be the first wave in this process. So the idea of all of us, you remember we were talking earlier about the fact that each one of these parallel realities, this is horizontally, have one avatar or nexus point, a symbolic person or individual that will be the center of the centrifuge. For higher dimensional realities, not going horizontally, but going vertically, for the higher dimension to show up, there has to be not just one nexus point, but 144,000 volunteers, as they describe here, that are going to be like each one of them at a different frequency and vibration. Think of them as a puzzle piece, each one of them playing an important and unique role. And combined together, they will become a doorway. They will be like an unlocking mechanism that will allow the W axis of whatever that higher density is, that higher dimension is, to show up. once activated, the centrifuge toward the new Earth will be visible. This will entrain others to find a third path. When 10% of the Earth population will have identified with this emerging reality, the complete vortex for this third path will begin to detach from the 3D fear-based world. This will be the second wave. Let me explain this. The training, the ascension, and the rising of each of the 144,000 members of this collective is the first wave. It is not the 10% that I just read about. It is the first wave. And as a matter of fact, the training that I'm starting this Wednesday, April 14th, on Zoom, called Ascension Yoga of Neutrality. It's on the website. That training is to train the 144,000 to help them remember and stand up in that kind of awareness and ascendance. Some of you have joined already. Some of you are in the process of joining right now. I just wanted to clarify this, that once the 144,000 are there or standing up, then at that very moment, the first, and they will as a cohesive collective awareness, each one of them standing in their own puzzle piece, we will collectively resonate a key frequency that will create an opening that will allow then 10% of the planet to see it. And when that happens, that will be the second wave. At the time, continuing the reading of the channeling, at the time of the galactic equator crossing, there will be 3 days of darkness, and the 144 volunteers will gather with one intention to find a permanent and safe passage into the new Earth. When this period of time ends, the entire collective that is emotionally bound by this interdependence to the blessed field will find themselves 4,429 light years away and into the new Earth. This will be the third wave. Let's talk about this for a minute. At the time of the galactic equator crossing, meaning, which remember I was telling you, we are cresting above as a solar system, above the thickness of the Milky Way galaxy. And once we get to a certain level, for 3 days, we will face the light of the galactic equator directly. This is what this is referring to now. And when this will happen, we will find a permanent and safe passage. This is directly from the paragraph, into the new Earth. And when this period ends, the entire collective that is emotionally bound by this interdependence to the blessed field will find themselves 4,420 light years away and into the new Earth. And this will be the third wave. What I'm trying to say here is this. The 3 days of darkness have been predicted by many ancient cultures. The chief 9 shamans have several times talked about this. I have videos of them on record of them illuminating, bringing that information forward and describing it. Okay, many people have talked about this. That 3 days of darkness is the actual time of the crossing. Now, geologists, and it's related to magnetism, to the Earth magnetic core, and also the magnetic resonance or the torsion field of the 144,000 plus the 10% that will entrain into them, acting together as one, created a gigantic Merkaba vehicle
that will travel for what will appear to be 3 days through darkness. Think of it more like a wormhole. For those of you who are watching the graphic that's connected to this on your screen, you see that there's all these various light and worlds that are all around, they're all parallel, and there is literally one path that leads to the light at the very center through a keyhole. And that is where the new earth is. There are all these other possibilities that are there, but there is one path through this collective Merkaba experience that will, and it's connected to interdependence, that will lead these beings. There's going to be a divergence and separation between all these realities at the assessment, by the assessment of the light of truth, authenticity, and transparency. And it will take those who are ready into a higher dimensional reality and shift them, permanently shift them. It's not that the others will die, they will go to other worlds, being given more time to work out what they need to work out because they were not emotionally intelligent and prepared enough to be able to move with the others into this destination, which will be 4,429 light years away. I'll continue the reading. At the moment when the sun disappears, all parallel realities and individuals that energetically identify with them will be transiting toward their final destination. This will be the moment of the final divergence and separation. Put differently, the 3 days of darkness will generate a lot of fears. Even if you spend your entire existence working on this transit, but find yourself to be fearful at the time, you will not travel to the new earth and will instead move to a fear-based reality. This journey will be perilous, and without preparation, many will identify with the wrong reality. This is self-explanatory. I don't think I need to talk anything about this. It means simply that at the time of the crossing, if you let fear even enter in your head for a moment during the crossing, this is why at around the time of the crossing, many people who've channeled say, stay indoors, stay together, pray to your higher power, your God. Find a way to connect to spirit and allow spirit to maintain. Again, the passage is perilous because any wrong emotional reaction will take you to a parallel and you will not end up where you're supposed to go. Next paragraph. Suggested practice for a graceful transit. To prepare for this transit and final divergence, we suggest the following practice and changes, for you will not be able to do this on the fly. 1, cultivate your relationship to the creative principle. The new earth is a higher dimension, and therefore holding a God concept on a fixed creative principle as a singular point in time and space is limiting. Instead of making God in your image, try to expand it into the understanding that it may be vast, infinite, and an endless field of benevolence and superconsciousness, an emerging existence that is unlike anything that you know in the 3D. Item number 2, become emotionally intelligent. When you are triggered by fear of survival, instead of emotionally reacting from the known emotional repertoire, try to acknowledge that the fear is not your identity. It is a temporary condition that you need to understand and learn from and process. Don't push it away. Instead, go into the fear and watch it like you would watch a play. Ask that it that you be shown its root cause and find the vulnerability that is camouflaged in it. Now surrender this vulnerability into your expanded God concept. Ask that this burden be taken away from you. Now, this is really important because all of us, and I know I've experienced this multiple times already, something in the outside world trigger you, whether you're empathing it, whether it is an actual event that scared the daylight out of you, because it's a weakness in your spiritual psychology, you go into severe fear and panic, okay? They're saying here, don't push it away. Instead, go into the fear and watch it like you would watch a play. Disconnect to it, but watch it, don't ignore it. Instead of trying to say, I'm push it away and try to pretend that it's not there, you watch it like you're watching a movie. As you be shown the root cause and find the vulnerability that is camouflaged in it. There is, even if it is something you're empathing for somebody from the world, a percentage of the same fear exists in you. That's why you're empathing it. Find where the root cause is, what are the events or that in you, in your life, that cause you to hold this false perception as a truth or as a trigger point for you to go into panic. Third point, be detached from the external chaos and polarization. Do not attempt to fix or repair anything. Due to the deconstruction of the existing paradigm, the world around you will seem to be falling apart. Instead of you trying to stop, explain, fix, change, blame, or convince anyone, realize that this transition is a personal journey. Stop wasting your time trying to argue with individuals, friends, and family members who have been radicalized by other parallel belief systems. They have already made their choice. They are not going to your reality. Let go of any attempt to control the outer world. You are not God's assistant. That part is big, it's major. Because a lot of time in the chaos that we're seeing, we have a certain kind of perception and we try to corral people, places, fix the problem because we don't want the reality around us to fall apart. This is a knee-jerk reaction. Let me figure out a way to control it, to fix it. And we try to change, to alter, blah, blah, blah. And then you spend a lot of time trying to convince friends, family members, what they are perceiving is wrong. They shouldn't be talking this way. You don't waste your time. They've already made a choice. They're going where they are going, and you're not God's assistant. Let go. The only thing you can really control is you and your journey. And that's the part that's hard. You have to realize these people, although they are family members that you love and they are friends that you love, they are not on your bus. They are not going where you're going. Part 4, surrender your entire identity into the emerging paradigm. All ascension comes from an ego death. It is the phoenix principle, the rebirth into new existence. For you to evolve into a higher dimension, you have to let go of who and what you think you are, and you have to become unattached to everything that exists in your life and embrace this great emptiness and luminosity that is beyond the known. It is in this vast, unknown, and emerging space that the new earth exists. You cannot intellectually find the new earth. You can only feel your way into it. That part is extremely important. You have to let go of who you think you are, and you have to become unattached to everything that exists in your life. And it's in that great emptiness, when you surrender all control into
the higher cosmic and universal control. This is where the new earth exists. And here are the concluding words. Beloved, we urge you to follow this practice, for even if you master 50% of it, at the time of the galactic equator crossing, you will find your way into the promised land. It is a greatest hope that our few words have been of help. We in the Galactic Center want to cultivate in you the possibility for a great and abundant harvest. We can only influence, but we cannot act for you. As always, the choice is yours. We are the Galactic Regent Council, and we thank you for this opportunity to share. Any questions, any comments? I have spoken about this before with you. Is there anything that stands out for you right now? Because I explained it in a way that I may not have explained before. Is there any new information that showed up for you? All right. Maybe you're processing because it was too intense. I suspect that's what it is. There was so much information in there. Maybe that's what it is. But I want you to understand that this is the framework, basically the platform from which WESAK and whatever is going to ensue in there is going to be launched. So mastery, or at least familiarity with that information, becomes key. Now, the actual channeling is on my blog on the website. So if you're interested in rereading it for you to be able to, if you go to I Am Monad, go look at blog and you'll be able to see the channeling. Okay? Now, what I want to do for the remainder, since you don't have any comments, I'm going to jump into a related topic. Not exactly, all of that transit and passage and galactic equator crossing and all that stuff, but I'm going to jump into something else. I want you to, I want to begin to talk about the space that you go into, well, we all go into, when we go into the monadic merger. And I want to kind of explain a little bit of what's going on, particularly when you get to the very end of the merger, after you go to all of the 12 points, and you come around and you're done, and you're in a state of utter and complete surrender. Last week, I talked a little bit about this, and we did the merger there, but I want to go into a deeper depth, because one of the things I talked about last week is the fact that the survival grid of the 3D creates almost like, if you can think of it graphically as an analogy, as a ravine that has a stream running underneath it, at the bottom of it. And they are tributary streams. I can think of all the various things that I've talked about, including the epigenetic memory of our family and ancestors.
the fear that the universe is benevolent, all of the various things, I'm afraid, all the various things that can be created because we somehow have allowed these other things in identity to come in and to ground into us. I can organize them into what I call the unholy trinities. There are three main things that every human being on the planet is doing unconsciously that is holding the 3D grid in place. And releasing these three things will take us into the emptiness and luminosity in the blessed field. And they are, first, shame and undeservedness. Okay? Feeling somehow that we're undeserving of the perpetually renewing and instantaneously and miraculously gifting benevolence that exists in the universe, and that every being except for us, even in nature, they are in abundant flow. No one in nature ever, I was talking about top predators, animals, go around and hunt, and hoard food for days. No one does this. They go, they eat, they know nature is going to give them more food. They just, after that, they lounge around and they roll around and they wait, and then they move on to the next hunt when they're hungry again, let's say 2 weeks, a week from now. They don't go around trying to hoard as many resources as possible. We are the ones that are doing this. We are the only species that have to pay to exist on Earth. And there's something wrong with that, because and it's connected to the last unholy part of the unholy trinity. The first one is the undeservedness and the shame. The second one is that I always, the human being, see it's himself, and I can only talk about me, I am always separated from the blessed field. Even after this merger, when I go into this blessed field and I can feel this incredible unburdening of everything inside of me, and I'm in this blessed holy space and everything is so wonderful and so great, I am still not accepting the blessed field as my identity. I see myself as separated from it. And that's the problem. That's a huge, huge problem. The third condition, connected to the first two, is that we all are experiencing lack. The lack is not real. We're choosing the lack by seeing of ourselves as undeserving, and by choosing to be a singularity, an separate, fragmented individual, as opposed to being our true identity, which exists everywhere. And because of these first two, we are experiencing lack. Lack of health, lack of happiness, lack of abundance, lack of love, lack all around. And so it's important for us to understand this and orchestrate and realize that we are not, it's the greatest lie. It's all untrue. This is not who we are. And for that truth to change, we need to understand the relationship that originally existed between the giver and the receiver and the bread of shame. So as long as the way things were created originally, before there were time and space and this reality and the multiverse, there was only the giver and the receiver, infinitely playing a role where the giver would give, the receiver would receive, but the receiver gives something back to the giver that was not so tangible, but equally potent and powerful, which was the receiver was grateful. And as long as there was gratitude, the giver was fed. The cycle closed, the infinity loop closed. And so what happens is that the giver, the receiver began to lose connection to the gratitude. He began to be ungrateful. And at the back end, and the corruption that's set in when you become ungrateful is entitlement. And the opposite of the entitlement is shame. Rather, the other end, the other side of the coin of entitlement is shame. And so over time, the shame got bigger, the entitlement got bigger and bigger and bigger, and he got to a point where the shame was so big that the receiver said, okay, I don't want any more gift. And at that point, it stopped being infinite, contracted, and from there, he became in fear, he became separated. This is the first separation, the first expression of singularity, whereas before he was completely infinite. He was endless, there was no end, no beginning, and no end to him. And the moment that fragmentation and that singularity happened, he realized he made a mistake and asked the giver to come back. The giver realizing again that I can't give anything that this giver wants. I can grant the gift, but I cannot remove the shame and the undeservedness. And the moment the giver came back and touched him, he shattered in him in a spiritual detonation. And thus created the hologram and the metrics of this multiverse to allow the fragment and the pieces to learn how to give, to receive from each other, and to help them in the process to overcome the shame. But the overcoming of the shame and the undeservedness had to be extremely hard for us to feel when we go back into the emptiness and the luminosity that we really have earned it. Because the problem before is that we felt that the gift was too easy and that we didn't earn what was being given to us. Any questions, any comments? All right, if there are no questions and no comments, let's take a 5-minute break. And then when the back end of this, before we do this, here's the point of me having that 15 minutes conversation about this. I'm gonna do the merger with you. But on the back end of the merger, once we've done all 12 positions, when you go into that bliss state of surrender where everything is in complete and utter adoration of this incredible space that you're in, I want you to bring into that space gratitude. Because the way to truly remove the undeservedness is to learn how to be grateful for the gift received again. All right, let's take a 5-minute break.
Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to anchor into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. I become aware of my monad and mighty I am presence. I ask for a complete and total merger with my 12 Christed over self bodies and the 144 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 12 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 1 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christ itself and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the powers, and the wisdom that you know. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I completely surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 2 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachment, fears, and control. And I completely surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 3 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Share with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachment, fears, and control. And I completely surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 4 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachment, fears, and control, and I completely surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 5 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachment, fears, and control, and I surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 6 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my crusted over self body that exists at 7 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you and I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my crusted self and with the 12 crusted aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. I ask that you share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. Please, I release all attachments, fears, and control, and I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 8 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you and I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachments, fears, and control, and I completely surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 9 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 10 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachments, fears, and control, and I completely surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my Christed over self body that exists at 11 o'clock. Please forgive me. I love you, and I let go. I ask for a complete and total merger with my Christed self and with the 12 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. Please share and merge with me the virtues, the wisdom, and the power that you know. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of my monad and mighty I am presence. I ask for a complete and total merger with my 12 Christed over self bodies and the 144 Christed aspects of me that compose this. I am that I am. In the vast continents and emptiness, I am perfectly still. And at rest. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes. How you all doing?
Wow, coming up from somewhere, but my. Thank you very much. It was beautiful.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I know a lot of the things in preparation for WESAK from the channeling are overwhelming because a lot of us feel that we're not ready. We haven't done enough. What they're talking about seems so far reaching that we feel unprepared. You have 6.5 years in front of you. Get busy.
Can you send us the recording, Pierre?
Sure.
Thank you.
Not a problem. All right, everyone. I don't want to keep you because I'm looking at the time. We're almost out of time, but I want to say thank you for sharing this journey with me. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you to all my Patreon subscribers. Thank you all. Sending you a deep blessing. I'll see you next week. And in 2 weeks, we're going to be off that day because we're going to be doing on the April 25th, because we're going to be doing the WESAK celebration. That will be his own separate thing for the entire day from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Blessings, everyone. Deep love. Good night.
Love you.
As well,
Bye.
Pia. Good night. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.